Welcome. Today, we're diving into the ultimate blueprint for any project success, the Project Charter.
So let's just jump right in with a big question, one that I'm sure hits close to home for a lot of us. Why is it that so many brilliant ideas end up turning into absolute chaos the second they become a project?
You know the feeling, right? You start off with this fantastic plan, and then, bam, suddenly you're drowning in scope creep, the budget is totally blown, and it feels like nobody can even agree on what you're trying to build anymore. It's the classic anatomy of project chaos.
And that chaos, it almost always starts right at the beginning, in those supercritical early stages, long before a single line of code gets written or a single brick is laid. But what if you had a North Star? A single, powerful, guiding document that could keep everyone perfectly aligned from the kickoff all the way to the finish line.
Well, here it is. It's called the Project Charter, and you really should think of it as the project's single source of truth. It's a formal document, sure, but its job is simple. Lay out the main goals and make it crystal clear who is responsible for what. It answers the fundamental why and who of your project. And a good charter covers a lot of ground. This isn't just some vague idea scribbled on a napkin. It clearly defines your scope, it sets your deadlines, it helps you spot risks before they turn into full-blown disasters, and it gives a clear overview of the budget. It really is the essential roadmap for the entire life of the project.
Okay, so one thing that trips a lot of people up is the difference between a project charter and a statement of work. Let's clear that up right now. Here's the easiest way to think about it. The charter is your internal, high-level green light. It's all about the why we're doing this and who is involved. The statement of work, or SOW, that's typically an external, super detailed contract. It focuses on the what we're building and how we're going to do it. One is for getting your internal team aligned, the other is for executing the work with outside partners.
All right, so now that we know what it's not, let's peel back the layers and really look at the anatomy of a killer project charter. What are the must-have elements? Well, the heart and soul of any great charter is its objectives, and they have to be SMART. That's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. A vague goal like, say, improve the website is totally useless. A SMART goal sounds more like increase user satisfaction survey scores by 15% within 6 months of the new site's launch. See the difference? But a charter isn't just about wishful thinking. It's grounded in reality. You have to be brutally honest and identify your constraints. What's the absolute budget limit? Is there a hard deadline you just can't miss? Are there certain skilled people you don't have on the team? Naming these things up front saves you from so many headaches down the line. Next up, you've got to figure out who has a stake in this project. You've got your internal team, of course, the sponsor, the project manager, but, and this is key, don't forget the external players, your customers, vendors, maybe even regulators. They can all influence your success. You need to know who they are and what they expect from day one. A great charter also acts as a bit of a fortune teller. Seriously, it forces you to look into the future and identify key risks before they happen. What if your lead developer quits? What if a critical vendor delivers late? By thinking through all these potential technical, resource, and schedule risks early on, you can actually make a plan to deal with them. And of course, we have to talk about money. The charter absolutely needs to include a high-level budget overview. This is often what gets the project the final green light. This chart gives you a pretty good idea of where the money goes. It's not just about salaries for your team. You've got to account for technology and tools, operations, quality assurance, and here's one people always forget, a risk reserve. That's your safety net for when those unexpected problems pop up. And get this, here's a fascinating number from the Project Management Institute. The act of actually managing the project, the planning, the tracking, the reporting, that alone typically eats up between 7 and 11% of the total project cost. It's a real cost, and you have to budget for it. So, after all that, how do you know if you've actually won? Well, your charter has to define what success looks like. These are your key performance indicators, your KPIs. Are we on time? Are we within budget? Is the customer actually happy? These aren't just afterthoughts. They're defined right at the very beginning. Okay, that was a lot of theory, so let's make this concrete and see how all these pieces come together in a real-world example. Let's pretend we're in charge of redesigning a university's website. I mean, this is a classic project, right? It's got tons of moving parts, a million stakeholders with different opinions, and so much room for things to go sideways without a solid charter.
Now, look at how clearly the charter defines the project's boundaries. It says exactly what's in scope, like the homepage and faculty pages, but just as important, it says what's out of scope, like messing with the internal HR systems. This table, right here, is your #1 defense against scope creep.
The charter also maps out the entire journey. It gives everyone a high-level timeline with the major milestones. You can see the whole project at a glance, from gathering requirements in month 1 all the way through to deployment and training in month 4. This is what keeps everyone on the same page, looking in the same direction.
So when you put all of these pieces together, the objectives, the stakeholders, the risks, the scope, the charter becomes so much more than just a document. It truly becomes your ultimate project roadmap.
And this quote from our source material just says it perfectly. The charter acts as a roadmap. It guides every single decision, it aligns every member of the team, and it provides that clear direction you desperately need to get from a great idea to a successful launch.
So the question I want to leave you with is this. As you look ahead to your next big idea, is your project truly ready for the journey? Do you have your roadmap? Thanks so much for tuning in.